Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be conducting a high-level expert audit of healthcare interior surfacing. Now, usually, when hospital administrators and facilities teams assess medical real estate, they zero in purely on the high-ticket items, right? Surgical equipment, HVAC systems, telemetry infrastructure. But today, we're bringing our expertise to a critical and honestly often overlooked vulnerability. We're talking about wall graphics and their direct impact on clinical compliance and infection control. Let's get right into the data.
Okay, let's dive into this. Every surface in a healthcare facility is a potential vector for contamination. We have to treat this not as some sort of abstract design philosophy, but as the absolute baseline of infection control. In our clinical audits, we approach interior design not as a decorative afterthought, but as a highly engineered component of patient safety. You literally have to view every single square inch of a hospital wall through the very real lens of clinical liability.
So, here is our executive briefing agenda for today. We'll be covering 1. The hidden hospital liability, 2. Why traditional graphics fail, 3. The adhesive-free solution, 4. Clinical cleanability standards, 5. Wayfinding and scaling, and wrapping up with 6. Lifecycle costs and ROI. Let's jump in.
Section 1. The hidden hospital liability. As experts in this space, we consistently see standard decorative surfaces acting as a massive blind spot for healthcare facilities teams.
Let's go ahead and diagnose the specific pain points of traditional vinyl wall coverings and standard wallpaper. What we're really looking at here is a complete cascade of compliance failures. First off, seams and edges physically trap moisture and dust, right? That creates the perfect lodging space for dangerous microorganisms, significantly upping the risk of hospital-acquired infections. Second, the water-based adhesives used in these older products, they soften under heavy chemical attack. This inevitably leads to peeling and bubbling, which exposes all that adhesive residue that is just incredibly difficult to sanitize. Ultimately, this forces high-frequency replacements. And as any facilities manager listening knows, replacing a wall graphic means closing down a corridor or a room. It ties up facility resources and causes unacceptable, not to mention highly expensive ward downtime.
And here is a metric that should put every hospital administrator on high alert. 18. We've documented cases where legacy vinyl graphics in high-traffic patient corridors begin fundamentally failing within just 18 months. That rapid degradation? It isn't an accident. It's directly caused by the facility's own daily disinfection protocols. Which brings us to Section 2, why traditional graphics fail. Let's get down to the chemical and environmental reasons behind this 18-month failure rate.
To really understand the liability, we have to look at this at a molecular level. The primary issue is a fundamental mismatch in engineering. Standard vinyl and wallpaper work perfectly well in a corporate office or a retail space. But when you transplant those exact same materials into a clinical environment, they become an immediate operational hazard. The humidity demands of surgical suites and the highly abrasive texture of hospital cleaning cloths absolutely destroy them.
And the biggest culprit in all of this is quaternary ammonia. Now, this is a standard hospital-grade disinfectant used everywhere across modern healthcare networks. But what a lot of facilities managers actually fail to realize is that quaternary ammonia actively attacks and degrades the glues holding traditional graphics to the wall. Think about that for a second. The very cleaning protocols designed to keep the hospital safe are the exact things tearing the wall coverings apart.
Moving on to Section 3, the adhesive-free solution. To solve this liability, the industry is shifting entirely away from applied decorations, moving toward engineered architectural integrations, specifically on-site automated direct-to-wall printing.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the objective side-by-side performance comparison. Look at this clinical performance matrix. You can clearly see where vinyl film suffers high failure from glues literally dissolving under chemical disinfectants, whereas direct-to-wall printing, 100% resistant. Where overlapping seams in vinyl trap bacteria, direct-to-wall carries zero risk because it is one continuous, completely seamless print. And crucially, for active occupied wards, direct-to-wall inks are totally odorless and eco-safe, meaning you completely dodge the toxic off-gassing you typically get with standard plasticizers. Section 4, meeting clinical cleanability standards. Now we're going to assess how this new standard actually holds up against real-world impact, heavy abrasion, and intense moisture over time. The science behind this is genuinely fascinating. We aren't just slapping a giant sticker on a wall here. Eco-UV curable medical-grade inks are printed and thermally bonded directly to the substrate, whether that is standard drywall or bare concrete, at a molecular level. Because there are no overlapping sheets, no physical edges to speak of, there are absolutely zero crevices where dust, moisture, or pathogens can hide. The graphic just becomes a unified, unbreakable part of the architecture itself.
And as experts auditing these facility operations, we know downtime is the absolute enemy of revenue and patient care. So, the fast-track operational speed of this technology is a real game changer. The entire direct-to-wall process can be executed in occupied buildings in under 5 hours. It requires no permits, generates no noise or hazardous fumes, and crucially prevents those devastating ward closures. Active patient care is completely undisturbed.
All right, Section 5, Wayfinding and Multi-Location Scaling. We're zooming out now from the micro level of pathogen lodging to the macro level of managing entire hospital network operations. See, wall graphics shouldn't just be pretty pictures. They are highly functional tools for reducing the cognitive load on stressed patients and their families. By printing at an architectural scale, hospitals can integrate color-coded departmental navigation directly into the walls. Think blue for oncology, green for cardiology. You can embed directional arrows and room numbers seamlessly right into the mural. In one major medical center we recently analyzed, this consolidated approach replaced over 200 individual signage placements. It completely eliminated visual clutter and all the maintenance overhead that goes with it. And for enterprise healthcare networks, scaling is everything, right? Digital asset management allows master graphic files to be adapted precisely for any wall dimension via the cloud. So whether you're activating a brand new clinic space in New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, or New Jersey, your clinical and brand consistency remains absolute. And that's regardless of whether the local building is made of drywall, CMU block, or even exposed brick. Finally, Section 6, Lifecycle Costs and ROI. Hospital administrators need hard financial numbers to make strategic capital decisions. So let's run the math. So the crucial point here is long-term financial efficiency. Take a typical hospital with, say, 50,000 square feet of common space. If they use vinyl at $8 to $12 a square foot, the inevitable 18 to 24-month failure rate means they're going to be forced to replace those graphics 3 to 4 times within a single 7-year window. That creates $400,000 to $600,000 in recurring replacement costs. Conversely, the adhesive-free direct-to-wall investment is $400,000 to $500,000 as a one-time capital cost. It completely eliminates the replacement cycle. To provide complete budget transparency, enterprise deployments scale on a fixed volume matrix. There's a flat mobilization fee of around $3,500 for clinic space setup. Standard custom diagnostic spaces run about $30 per square foot. But for grand hospital networks printing over 1,000 square feet, economies of scale bring that all the way down to as low as $15 per square foot. This transparent matrix establishes a true strategic partnership rather than just an unpredictable transactional vendor relationship. Which brings us to the ultimate lifespan, 7 to 10. That is the number of years guaranteed for color stability and structural integrity with medical-grade direct-to-wall UV printing. It vastly outlasts legacy materials, entirely dodging those unpredictable, highly expensive operational disruptions of failing vinyl that plague so many facilities managers today. I want to leave you with this final thought to consider. Look at your own capital improvement plans right now. Will your facility's next interior upgrades simply introduce a new clinical liability wrapped in a fresh design? Or will you engineer your walls to establish a permanent, sterile standard? When you stop viewing your wall graphics as mere decorations and start seeing them as critical components of your infection control infrastructure, the right path forward becomes crystal clear. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we look forward to bringing you more expert audits soon.